Welcome to Escaping Purgatory, a podcast where we rewatch Supernatural and talk it through in the hopes we can finally escape this show.
Join us each week, leave comments on upcoming episodes, and together we can escape Supernatural Purgatory.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, I stumbled over the intro. No, I'm not changing it.
No. It's that kind of day, you know.
It is, yeah. Where, you know, you wake up and you feel like marrying someone. At the cost of your soul.
Yeah. Isn't that all marriage?
Says the person with the husband.
I'm very happily married. Oh. Yeah.
Yeah. I was saying to Amy before this episode, so we're doing episode 7, season 7, episode 8, season 7, Time for a Wedding. Try and say that 10 times fast.
Mm-hmm.
Written by Andrew Dabb and Daniel Laughlin. And directed by Tim Andrew.
Yeah.
I was saying to Amy before this episode that we were recording that this episode is not as egregious as I remember it being. It's still bad.
Yeah.
As in, like, you shouldn't do what Becky did. But, like, in terms of, like, an actual Supernatural episode, it was just kind of fun. It was kind of silly.
Yeah.
Like, there was nothing too serious. Obviously, we see Garth, which is amazing.
Mm-hmm.
I thought Garth had a bigger role, actually, in this episode.
Me too.
But he really doesn't.
Yeah.
It's the next one that he's in that he has more of a role in it. But, yeah, it was good. I actually quite I wonder of the writing pair, like Andrew Dabb and Daniel Laughlin, like who was the like bigger contributor of this episode?
Yeah, like this definitely has like, because obviously Andrew Dabb became showrunner later on, and he definitely writes Supernatural in a certain way. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Because, again, this feels like maybe it could be like a later season episode.
It does, yeah. And
I think he brings that kind of humor to Supernatural that I like and also don't. I have a very love-hate relationship with the humor in Supernatural because on the one hand, like, there's some really great moments. On the other hand, I'm like, this is supposed to be a scary show.
Right. Yeah. There's like nothing about this episode that. So like I think of the way that Kripke used to describe what Supernatural was, which was like a mini horror movie in each episode. The biggest horror in this is the fact that Sam is drugged. To love Becky.
Mm-hmm. I think there's something really kind of like low stakes about it. I think that's what it is. And I just, I don't know. I like this episode to me is just, it's kind of weird. Like, it's a bit out of place. Yeah. It's ultimately a device to bring back like Crowley into the mix, which is hilarious to me. It's another kind of swipe, I guess, at fandom. But I think actually it's not as much as I remember it being, because it's very much centered on Becky as a person, if that's what and not as a fan, if that makes sense.
But it's still a commentary on a potential fan. Like, it's like, oh, because she even says like Supernatural isn't that popular, and it's just like, so she's the weirdo girl that like nobody liked in high school, nobody likes 10 years after high school. Even the Crossroads Demon is like, you know, you're so pathetic, it's almost cute again. So it's just like, like people just have pity for this person.
You know what it is? I'm sorry. No, this is it. It's the infantilization of women's interests. That's what the problem with this episode. There's other problems with this episode, but specifically Becky and the conversation around fandom in Supernatural. Women's like interests in shows are seen as more juvenile than men's interest in shows. right?
Yes, you're actually 100% right. I think of Ronald as
right.
He had a connection with Dean over Doctor Who, which at one point was a niche. You know?
Exactly. And you see it all the time, and I know I've spoken about this before, in shows like The Big Bang Theory, where all the nerds are guys, and when they go to a Star Trek convention, it's all nerdy guys. And I'm like, women built your fandoms. But the thing is, I feel like they have to show it that way because it wouldn't be taken as seriously if they thought that women were only fans of that it was mostly women that were fans of that show. It's not considered anymore to be serious science fiction, or in this case, like serious horror, if you're finding that women are the majority of the audience. Just to get on my feminism high horse about this. But it's so true. It's true. It's so true. Like, me and Annabelle have had conversations off the podcast recently about book talk, which I think is really interesting as well. Because I think the same thing is happening, right? That, like, we're seeing more women become interested in, like, fantasy. So it almost has to be somehow marketed towards them. There's another whole thing about sexual liberation going on there as well, which I think is a good thing. But, like, it's, I don't know. There's also something about it bothers me, and I'm not quite sure where it is. And I think it is not taken as seriously as other fantasy genres. Because, again, I feel like women are the majority of people that are interested in it.
I can definitely see that. And it's just like the way that it's spoken about as being like, I don't know, like almost wrong.
Yeah.
Like, or like, you know, the comparison between it being like pornography for women. It's like, it's sexual, but like it's not the same.
Like, men haven't had their whole like hero complex stories where like the guy becomes a hero and gets the girl at the end. I mean, in some cases in fantasy, multiple women, thinking of the Wheel of Time series, which I love, by the way. But that's also, the main character ends up married to 3 women at the end of that, which we're all for it. But also it's a kind of male fantasy. And they're all different. Yeah. They're all slightly different in a all kind of manic pixie dream girl way. But I don't know. This coming back to this episode, I think that's what it. I think that's what it is. I think that's what annoys me about Becky so much, because I'm like I know her, right? I kind of know. I know.
Yes.
We all know her. And I feel bad that she's being made fun of because like she's my friend.
Right. And I guess the biggest problem I have with Becky is that Becky is always written by a man.
And that's why she acts the way she does.
And that's, And because it's still playing into the ego of Sam and Dean. Like, she is such, especially Sam, like, she is such a huge fan that she's willing to not sell her soul once she finds out, but like, go to these extremes to have what she kind of wants, but not like. The thing is, I feel like for this episode to have really worked, I feel like Becky at the end of this episode should have had a realization that actually, like, because she stabs somebody, right?
Right.
Like, her realization should be that, like, oh, the books are really cool. I love the idea of supernatural, and I love the idea of all of this. But actually, you two are terrifying, and I want nothing to do with you. I think I would have had a much better, like, it would have been a much nicer framing as her development, rather than like, oh, I'll go to Garth because Garth is there and he's also a hunter. Or like, and I think I don't know, I have to listen to Emily Perkins speak normally, but I also hate if her voice is put on, that's also a really bad aspect of her character.
Yeah. I feel
it's
that,
like,
sorry.
It's the same thing that like trad wives do. Like they make themselves childlike.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking about, the infantilization of women in fandom, right? We couldn't possibly be, people who have serious jobs and families and we must be weird loner women who are lame and don't have any friends. Like, actually, I have loads of friends, and they're all mostly through fandom.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think there should have been a realization at the end. I think part of this is that Becky doesn't see Sam as a real person, almost, because he's a character in a book to her, or like a fantasy, which doesn't make in any way what she does to him right. But there should have been a realization at the end, like, oh my gosh, you're actually a real person. This is your life, and it's horrendous.
Right, exactly.
I want the thing to happen. The story from Robert Pattinson, I want that to happen. I've told this story before on the podcast as well.
Oh yeah.
About
the
like
thing.
the stalker of Robert Pattinson, and like eventually he was like, "Fine, let's go out to dinner," and he was so boring that she stopped stalking him. Which it's like, that's not recommended. First of all, don't stalk people. Second, don't take stalkers out to dinner. But like, also, I think this person clearly wasn't seeing him as a real person, Right. And once you make that realization, it's like, oh my God, what am I doing?
Yeah.
Yeah. But Becky needed that moment.
And I mean, I guess she does eventually.
Yeah.
Right. I feel like in season 15, she definitely has more. I mean, she has a family and like she still enjoys her fandom, but like she has real life then.
I feel like they matured her at that point as almost an apology of like, oh yeah, you guys aren't really like that.
Because the way she is acting is like she is in high school. Like she doesn't understand that, like you said, real people with real lives, real feelings. And when you're a kid, you do that. Like you cannot separate fiction from reality.
Yeah. And
like,
I guess to be fair to the showrunners and their take on this, there are some people who do struggle with that in fan spaces as well. So I guess it's kind of a comment on that. But I feel like they're, let's just not make fun of people. I don't know. Because it annoys me, right, that I'm just going on my high horse again just for a second, because I'll read sometimes articles about fandom and I'm going back to like sci-fi stuff and you'll think like, oh yeah, we see a lot of women and they have really interesting jobs, like, they're scientists and they're, there are fans of Star Trek who are astronauts and they're women. And it's like, yeah.
Right.
That's because we're people. Sorry, there's a wider conversation, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And like Supernatural could have been the leading in that because they've written their fans into the show.
Yes.
But they decided not to, which is, unfortunate. And so I think the problem that we're seeing is that we only ever get the extreme fans.
Yeah.
Even in fan fiction.
Yeah.
Like, they're extreme fans. Mm-hmm. I want a middle, like, I guess we could be considered extreme fans because we are sat here doing a podcast. We have gone to multiple conventions, met a lot of I mean, you've met pretty much the entire cast.
Pretty much.
At this point.
Yeah.
But still, I don't know, but we're also just normal people. Like, we know we would never do what Becky did.
Right.
At, like, 10 years out of high school is 28.
Yeah.
So we would never do that at 28.
No. 28, I feel actually was I was away from Supernatural for a while, like it's a good times. Yeah. Where's the middle of the ground, like, but then I would say 99.9% of the fans are that. Right, we are on the. I guess we're on the. If you're drawing us as a normal distribution, we're on the lower end. We're going down the slope.
On the bell curve.
Yeah, we're on the
curve. Just to prove that we're not. We're normal. We're talking about graphs.
Yeah. You mean you don't talk about statistics in your everyday life? I mean, who are you?
I mean, really.
But I think that's my main gripe with this. It's always been Becky. It's cringe. I feel like I'm being made fun of, even though I have never acted like Becky, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah.
we're all Becky here.
we are. It doesn't matter your gender, you are Becky.
You are Becky. I don't know. But then, on the other hand, I did enjoy this episode. It was fun.
It's just so lighthearted. It was a really, really easy watch.
Yeah.
It was a really easy watch.
It was, and I feel like the last a few episodes have been a bit clunky, but this one was all right.
Yeah.
Like, it just flowed and stuff happened, and it all kind of made sense. And I didn't have to think about it too hard. This was really bad.
The worst thing, actually, about this episode was the recap. The recap was the most confusing part, which is the thing I have to now try and explain. Because it was weird. I don't know why they did it this way, but they did.
Good luck to you. Let's do it, because we've got a big chunk at the beginning of this of where we talked about the episode.
Yeah.
So let's get straight into it.
Okay, so like I just said, this recap is a bit of a mess.
Yep.
So bear with me for just a second. We start with the beginning of the last conversation that they had in the last episode.
Okay.
Of Sam and Dean coming back together.
Yes.
And Sam saying, like, look, you're not okay. You can't tell me that you're okay. You're not sleeping. You're drinking for the record, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
We then go further back in that same episode where Sam and Dean are arguing about the fact that Dean killed Amy.
Yeah.
We then go back to that same conversation for a split second. We then skip back 2 episodes to Sam leaving.
Why? Why in this order?
Yeah, from Slash Fiction.
Mm-hmm.
We then go back to the beginning of that. No, sorry. Okay. No, we started with the end of the last conversation. Then we go back to the beginning of the last conversation that they had in the last episode where Sam is agreeing that Dean did the right thing.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why they decided to do that order. It does not make any sense. But that is a main chunk of the recap, and I don't think that helps anybody in any kind of way.
Why didn't they just do it chronologically? Why? Like, kills Amy, they have an argument about it, they make up. That's the recap.
That is the recap.
Fine.
Yep.
Whatever.
And then we go to and there's a bit in the cafe too when they're like Sam saying that he doesn't know if he can work with you again. Like, I guess I think what they're trying to do is be like, oh, they're separating, but they're together, but they're separating, but they're together, but they're separate. Like, I think they're trying to do that because of the beginning of this episode.
Fine.
So fine, maybe.
Yeah.
And then it kind of does like a fade to white real quick to take us all the way back to like season 2. I think, is it 2?
Oh no, gosh, I can't remember.
It's 4. It's season 4 because Cass is there.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah. He's not in this clip, but it's about Chuck, so Chuck is season 4. And it's the comic book store, and they're talking about the book series.
Yeah.
And then Becky meeting Chuck, telling it it's all real, and then Becky meeting Sam and like doing the weird like hand touchy thingy. And then that's it. So it's just like, okay.
I guess what they're trying to do is like remind us of all the riffs they've had this season so far, even though there's really not been that many. To make the beginning of this episode make you wonder if it's really happening, even though you know it definitely wouldn't be. Do you know what I mean? Like maybe this is caused to such a huge rift on them that Sam runs off and gets married.
Right. Yeah. And then we are in a PG strip club because it's TV.
Everyone is covered. Their swimsuit area is covered.
Yes.
So yes, exactly. I love the word PG strip club. I want to like make that bar. I like, you know, with the big like PG sign in neon to say PG strip club.
Come for the conversation because that's what Dean is there for. Because that's what,
It's just entirely let us know titties here.
Yeah. It's the complete opposite of like a Miami strip club because they're fully naked ones. Anyway, yes. So Dean is talking with a waitress that's there. She is saying, you know, people, I don't want to tell you why I'm doing this. And then she does. She's in grad school and she's like, oh, see, look, there's a look. And you just gave it to me, like, kind of thing. And Dean's like, no, this is, I dig smart chicks. Like, he's doing his, like, I'm going to have a one night stand.
Yeah, there's a persona that he puts on. I don't even know what it is. Like, I don't even know what this is. It works, though.
Yeah, apparently it does. I mean, yeah. If you had someone who looked like Dean come onto you that strong, would it not work?
It would work. Like,
yeah.
It would work.
Yeah.
I'm a married woman, Annabelle. It would not work.
No. I mean, if you were single,
yeah,
I'm not going to say that you would never cheat on your husband. I know you.
I know, it's fine. I don't think I've ever been hit on like this, right? I don't know if this is actually a thing that really happens. And
I don't think it is. I think it's a TV
It's
fantasy.
a TV thing. Because men are way less subtle than this.
You're right.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. And like, I feel like actually Dean's quite a gentleman. He quite respects the personal space of the women that he's hitting on. Never have I had a man respect my personal space while I'm being hit on. I'm sorry. I just appreciate this because I'm like, I don't think this is real. Listeners, let us know. Have you ever been hit on like this? Like, you know, with a respectful distance.
Yeah. Yeah. That would be the day, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's clarify that. Have you ever been hit on by a respectful distance by a man?
Yeah.
Because I'm pretty sure other women
You're so right.
were, you know, pretty respectful of space.
You are correct.
Yeah. So the waitress then turns around and asks, you know, what's up with Dean? And he's like, well, I have a friend who has a brother who has a... I don't know why he doesn't just say it's him.
She knows immediately.
Immediately. Everybody knows immediately.
Yeah.
And that he's a loose cannon and, you know, he wasn't doing well, but he seems to be doing better. Yeah. But then, like, they have this special week that they come to Vegas and now he's gone off to be a hippie in the desert.
Yeah.
And the waitress is like, well, maybe he just needs time alone. You know, sometimes we just need to face ourselves. And it's just like, oh, that's a bit of a line, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, one question. Their sacred annual Vegas trip that never happens again.
Yeah. Well, you know, we just skipped that week, right?
I guess maybe it wouldn't happen again after this. But I feel like...
Right, because they would avoid Becky.
Yeah. Well, now she knows. She knows.
Yeah.
No,
yeah.
That's why she knows they're there. That's why she knows they're there. I never put that together before because it's in the books.
Right. That's what he says in the episode.
Oh, I'm so stupid.
He literally says that. That's why she knows about it.
I promise I watched this.
Yeah. Or they like switch up the week of when it is.
Or go to like another gambling place.
Yeah, like Atlantic City or something. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then Dean says, oh, maybe he does. And she's like, wasn't talking about him.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, then Dean's phone goes off and it's from Sam and it says, wear fed suit, ! Mm-hmm. And he's like, speak of the devil, he's 4 blocks away. And then as Dean walks away, the waitress is like, see, baby bro does need you after all.
Aww.
Yeah. We cut to like a chapel. And Dean is in his suit and he's walking down the alley, the corridor, and he's like scoping it out, and then the light flickers above him, so he gets his pistol out. And as he goes to open the door, Sam opens the door and he's like points the gun at him. He's like, "Whoa, no, it's okay. You know, you don't need that. Yeah. Come on." And like you can see that something's wrong with Sam because he's like overly happy, overly enthusiastic, and like. He takes him over to like the front of the aisle and puts like a flower in his lapel. And it's like the carnation is for loyalty. Pink is for loyalty, which I thought was kind of interesting that that's the color, that's the thing that they chose.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Loyalty is very, very important to these two. And Dean's like, so what's the pretext? It's funny because this is the first time they've ever used the word pretext, and then Becky then uses the word pretext, and I was like, what? What? Because so Dean says,
all right, so what's the pretext? Were we wedding crashers, huh? We're looking for some kind of siren or what?
No, nothing like that. All right, so a little sudden, but life is short, so I'll keep this shorter. I'm in love. And I'm getting married.
Like he puts his hand on his shoulder. This, for someone who has played multiple versions of a character, like he's like Jared has played like Lucifer Sam, this, that, and the other. This is I feel like the most Jared-like he's ever been.
I agree.
Like just a little bit awkward, kind of. I don't know. There's just something about it that I was just like, yeah, this is. We're not looking at Sam at all in this.
I agree with you, actually, yeah. But then that's how we're supposed to know something's off. I do kind of love the acting in this, actually. I think it's really good. Yeah. Because, you're right. You're like, what is up with Sam? But maybe he is like, I don't know, took something in the desert and decided to marry some random woman. And I could kind of believe that as Sam's character at this point in his life, where he's like, you know, got Lucifer going on in his head and we don't know what's going on with him, and like maybe he wants to leave hunting, who knows. It's very out there.
And so Dean just like looks at him, doesn't have anything to say. He's like, say something like, congratulations, for example. And then you hear the like bridal chorus and you see a woman walking down, but the veil's in front of her face, and then reveals that it's Becky. And Dean's like, what the hell? Becky's
face. It's the same face she made when he's going, Misha. It's that same face.
Yeah, exactly. Exact same face. And then Becky just says, Dean, I'm so glad you're here. She's not glad he's here.
No.
She hates Dean.
Yeah, she's such a Sam girl. She's on the like, there's a quadrant where you're like Sam girl and Dean girl, but there's definitely a quadrant that's like Sam girl anti-Dean.
Yeah.
She's in that one.
She is definitely in that one. Yeah. Like, Dean is not even a character in this show.
No.
And then we get a special title card where it's like a wedding cake. It's actually kind of a nice looking wedding cake. It's a black and white one with kind of fleur-de-lis on it. And then it explodes. Metaphor for their wedding? I think so.
So, like in this Vegas chapel, Dean says, shouldn't she ask for my permission or something? And Sam's like, you want her to ask for my hand? Because like, yeah, Dean's his dad, but like also his older brother. And that was quite a good line, I thought.
Yeah.
So obviously he's asking like, what's going on? Sam says that they met, they ate, they talked, they fell in love, and here they are. And this is after they've got married, right? They're like sat doing the signing or whatever they have to do. So we don't actually get to see the wedding, which I feel like they should have shown a bit.
Shame.
Of it. Yeah. I just wanted to watch Dean's face through all of it.
Right.
I don't think they should have shown Sam and Becky getting married. I think there should have been a whole like 30-second cut of just Dean's face.
Right. The horror of it all.
What's going on?
It's like it cuts between, like very much like the last episode of season 6 where we're cutting between Raphael, Crowley, and like it's between Dean and like Elvis.
It's like,
because obviously
Janet,
it's Elvis who's marrying them.
Brad, Dr. Scott.
Exactly.
Yeah. Dean says,
okay, you know what? Ignoring everything. Have you forgotten the average lifespan of your hookups?
Rude, but true.
Yeah, I mean that was a dig, Dean. That was mean.
The fact that it didn't get a reaction from Sam, like a very strong reaction from Sam, should be a huge indicator that something's wrong, because like that's such a sore spot for Sam.
Oh yeah, and I think that's why Dean said it. He's like, who are you?
Yeah. What have you done?
What have you done with Sam? And that is kind of the vibe he gets through a lot of this episode. Is like, who are you? What have you done with Sam?
Yeah.
But like, I guess he was kind of. We're talking about the other shoe dropping. Like, he's expecting his like mental state to go a bit haywire at some point. So maybe he's like, this is a manifestation of that. Like, what's
Yeah. Right.
We'll see. Sam's like, yeah, but Becky interjects and she says, like, I read every book, like, open eyes, open. Just the way she talks. I don't know. There's something. And Dean just says, I'm going to be sick. Sam's like, it's something good in my life. I have to jump on it. And that is kind of playing into some, like, things he has been saying about, like, the fact that bad things have been happening to him recently. And that he's just got to go with it. And Dean's like, okay, but have you checked, like, and Becky's had all the tests, like the salt, the holy water, everything. Like, she holds out her arm, it's got a cut on it. And she's like, not a monster, just the right girl for your brother. Oof. 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 So a guy comes up and hands him the bill, and Becky's like, I'll take care of it, and like takes away her purse, asking if they do traveler's checks. And Dean turns to
what does Becky do for a job, by the way?
I don't think we know her job.
I think she just comes from money. I think that's what it is.
I think
she has too much time on her hands, so she's just like a trust fund kid. So she could just sit and be on Twitter all day.
I think so. Or like, I feel like she works maybe like a cubicle job, like something like accountancy or admin or something. I dare say boring. I know people work in those might find them interesting, but for me, something that's kind of maybe the reason why she has such a life outside of work.
Right. True.
So it's probably not very social.
Right.
So yeah, Dean turns to Sam and is like, really? Superfan 99? And Sam's like, I had the same opinion of her, but we got past the whole book thing, and like, she's really great, and like, I was being the dick. I was like, no, Sam.
No.
Oh. And yeah, they talk about what I was saying, like, she randomly shows up during Vegas week, clearly because she knew that they were going to be there.
Yeah.
Because Chuck wrote about it, and Sam just calls him paranoid. I guess Dean hasn't seen him for a while because he's like, it's been 4 days, man. So this was the trip that he was supposedly taking into the desert, which I feel sad for Sam that he didn't get to go do that.
Right, that's probably something he was looking forward to as well.
Yeah, I bet he was super hyped to go get away from Dean and like look at some stars and like think about his life, like maybe write some poetry, like read a book.
Right.
Yeah. Turn off his Wi-Fi antenna.
Right.
So Sam says that he's going to move in with Becky in her place in Delaware, and he's just like, get supportive, then give us a call. And he just leaves, right? Like, he's just like, bye. Becky's tweeting on her phone. So this Twitter account did exist. I don't know if it still exists. And it doesn't have all the tweets that are in this episode. I think it doesn't, but it has some ones that aren't in this episode. So if you want to go find that, I'm sure it probably does still exist, but then like we don't go on Twitter anymore. So yeah. Try the Internet Archive. Maybe it's on there.
Maybe.
So she tweets, first official tweet as Mrs. Becky Rosen Winchester. I feel like, this is reading way too much into this, that her double barreling her name, it makes me feel like she knew this was never going to last.
Yeah. I mean, it couldn't, right?
No.
I mean, she is... The thing is, she's also really naive, right? It's shown in this episode that she's really naive with how she gets all of this done.
And yeah, I just thought it was an interesting choice. I don't know.
Yeah.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
So Dean goes out, he walks, they're still driving that Dodge. He rings Bobby, who doesn't answer because Bobby's out, I think, hunting vampires, I think is the suggestion, because he says he's like in an Oregon nest, and they usually refer to nests for vampires.
I'm headed to Delaware to do a little snooping around.
Sam is there with his wife. That's right, you heard me. his wife. Call me.
So it then cuts to this like restaurant. We see Becky and Sam's car pull up with like the car sign that says like just married or whatever. Basically, this is the registration for Becky's class reunion. There's a woman on the desk who clearly is some kind of high school bully, and was definitely to Becky. She's just gives off the air of one of those people.
She's a mean girl.
She's a mean girl. Yeah. She's someone who peaked in high school.
That's the implication. Yep.
Yeah, you know,
the one that you try to impress is like, why though?
Why though? Because you know, like, the best years of their life are behind them. So mean,
right,
so
exactly.
mean. So she comes up and she's like Becky introduces herself as Becky Rosen, and she's like, yucky Becky, which this is what I mean about peaking in high school. Like, nobody does this as an adult if that's not the case.
No.
So she's signing up and she's like, oh, I need me as a +1 because now I'm like Rosen Winchester. And she clocks Sam, and this woman is clearly impressed by him. His tallness, his hair.
His tallness. That is it. That is all that they're impressed with.
But this whole exchange, like, I think it shows that this whole thing, like, this is what I mean about her not seeing Sam as a real person. This is not about him. This is about her, right?
Yes.
Trying to justify her life in some way to these people.
Right, she's trying to show that she's not this kind of loser who couldn't get a boyfriend, who well, I'm glad they didn't go, they obviously didn't have time for this and all that kind of stuff, but I'm glad they didn't go to the route of like the boy that's her best friend who, like, I don't know if you remember Not Another Teen Movie.
Oh yeah,
her, like, the main character's like best friend who like gets completely like friend zoned.
Yeah,
I'm glad they didn't go that route with Becky, because that's kind of where they could have gone.
I mean, they really kind of did that with Chuck, almost. Like, I don't know, like, he was with the convention because she was really interested in them until she like hooked up with Chuck. I don't know, it's not the same thing. I don't know,
right?
But like, I'm not sure what I mean by that. She ditched them real quick, is what I'm saying, for Chuck.
Yeah, that's true.
Because he was always in the background kind of interested in her in that episode. And there could have been a similar character here that, like, clearly is someone who's interested in Becky that she's, like, ignoring for Sam. And I kind of glad they just didn't do that again. I don't know, it's very tropey.
It's very tropey, and, like, I don't. There's an aspect of her character where she does feel like she likes to use people.
Yes, I agree.
So, like, she's using Sam to make herself look better. Yeah. She's using Guy to get Sam. And then, like, when Garth shows just a tiny bit of interest, she drops Sam immediately, even though Sam sat right across from her.
Right. You're kind of like, oh, maybe I do understand why you don't have any friends. That's mean.
Yeah.
But, like, yeah, she does. She drops people in an instance for her own kind of goals.
Selfishness.
Yeah. And maybe that's just like, and that's what I think they show her as maturing as later in the show. Because it's quite an immature thing to do. So they leave the restaurant. Becky tweets again about Jocelyn Caruso being roasted. Who is she tweeting to?
Well, so Garth finds out she has 11 people that follow her.
Fine. Yeah.
It makes sense.
It does, yeah.
One of them, 3 of them are Chuck.
3 of them, all 3. Like, what happened between... Did Chuck just... Obviously, he, like, ghost... I reckon he must have just disappeared, right? Did she specifically say they break up? Or...
Yes.
I think she does.
I think
Did he not just disappear and then ghost her, you know, because he wasn't around anymore? I think they specifically broke up.
No. Becky broke up with him.
Yeah, that's right.
Because he's all... Yes.
Yeah.
Because she realised he's not as interesting.
Wow.
Yeah.
She broke up with
No
Dean.
wonder why women are written so poorly in Supernatural if Chuck is getting dumped by a woman. You
I know, right? And also, like, was anyone ever going to be good enough for Becky? She dumped the literal god, you know? Like, the
That's so true. That is so true.
She has high standards.
And, like, she's not even afraid of him, like, when he does reveal himself as God. Like, because she just tells him that his story is shit. Like...
I have more respect for her. Like, after Atomic Monsters, or whatever that episode's called, I did have a way more respect for Becky to just stand up to him and be like, I don't care that you're the literal god, you're also a loser. Like, yes, girl, get him. We all want to do that. Like, yeah. So, in the car park of this restaurant, she meets Guy. Guy is, like, her friend. I say friend, you're not seeing my fingers doing the thing.
Yeah.
Friend. And he has like, how was Vegas? He's very queer coded in this. This the way that he talks is there's that like valley. Is that what we call it? Like California Valley accent? Yeah.
Valley girl, yeah.
So she's like, oh yeah, you know, shows her ring off and everything, and he's already really excited for her. And she introduces Sam, and like Guy, he looks impressed with Sam, right? But I think later, what, like, you don't think so?
He clocks Sam. He knows it's Sam Winchester right away, and like is like, oh shit,
yeah,
he married Sam Winchester.
But it like because you don't know that in this moment, I think it comes across as like, whoa. Yeah. He's tall.
I guess so, yeah.
Like everyone.
I do wonder. So, because I'm sorry, I know I'm keep skipping a little bit, but like, so Becky calls him a Wiccan. Mm-hmm. I do feel like every supernatural creature, no matter if you're like a witch, a vampire, werewolf, whatever, can clock hunters right away. So even if we can't tell that he's actually a crossroads demon, even if he was just a Wiccan and he was a witch, he would still be wary of Sam.
Yeah, because obviously because you're right, because he's a crossroads demon, he knows exactly who's Sam Winchester, and he's like, oh, I'm in trouble here.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, it's almost like an instinctive thing, and it kind of has to be for like survival reasons, right? That monsters and witches and stuff can just clock hunters. Like the witches in that episode, they were like immediately like, these guys are hunters.
Yeah,
I 100% agree with you.
Dr. Phil, yeah.
It's the shirts. And the layers.
It's true.
Yep. And the smell.
The flannel. Well, yeah, there is that too. The wafting, like, alcoholism and desperation.
So right.
It's an honor to meet you, Sam.
Thanks. You too.
Guy's a really good friend. We met in the erotic horror section at the Novel Hollow.
Oh my God, Becky, come on. TMI.
Which is such a good name for a bookshop. That's a good one. Yeah. So he was clearly like trolling for clients, I guess, in the bookshop.
Yeah.
Fine.
Yeah. Makes sense.
So he kind of like dismisses himself. He's like, oh, you know, I have to get back to it. Like, party's not going to happen. And she explains how's he goes. She's like, oh, he's an event planner. Reunion season is very busy for him, which again makes sense later on why it would be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So she leaves Sam and runs back up to Guy, and she's like, did you get my message? And he's like, oh yeah, you know, give me a hug. And they kind of do this like almost like drug trade-off.
It's like the worst thing ever. Like Sam would have clocked it right away, but anyway,
if he was in his right mind, 100%. Yeah.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah. You know what was missing from this episode was like seeing things from Sam's point of view.
Yes.
To like how fuzzy is. I know we get that one little bit where like everything sort of goes into three and like it gets all blurred vision, but like the way that he's acting, the way that he's looking at things is just, it would be nice to see like, is it rose tinted vision? Like that's what I wanted to see.
We should have had his POV where I saw like sparkles and rainbows and like stuff.
Yeah.
So he actually says to her like blessed be, like Guy does, which I think is like a Wiccan thing. So he's playing into that.
Yeah.
Dean arrives just as Sam is getting into their car. Sam and Becky drive away, so like Dean's tailing them.
Yeah.
So Dean goes to a bar. He has the journal, which we haven't seen in like a hot minute.
I know,
Right?
right? I was confused by that. Yeah.
That old file of facts. That's what I think of it. It's just a brown file of facts. And he notices for the newspaper he has that there was a truck that killed a pedestrian in a freak accident, but the guy it killed was a recent lottery winner. And he's like, huh. And
That's weird.
that's kind of it. Back at Becky's apartment. Well, she got a little house. She's got a little house, you know. It's a nice house. Her and Sam are having dinner together. She's wearing something. I don't know how to describe it. I've never found these maybe this might be telling on myself. I don't understand these night dresses.
I mean, I get what she's trying to do.
Yeah.
She's trying to be alluring, right? But like it's very much somebody who has but she's been with Chuck, so like it feels very virgin, as in like, this is my first real relationship, and so I'm going to wear this to like impress my boyfriend.
I like, if that works for you, that's fine, right? Of course. But like, there's something very frilly about it. I don't know,
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It's she comes to
I'm more strappy than frilly.
Yeah. So she comes to dinner in this outfit, and Sam's like, "You look really nice." And she says, I think this whole bit is implying that she's a virgin, because she says, "Thanks, I was, saving it." And I think that's supposed to imply that she's right. I
think she bought this for Sam, as in like she ever since she found out that Sam was real, this is what she's been saving.
That's
it for,
worse.
or saving it for, or she was saving it for like being married. But because she's been with Chuck, I do think.
But it doesn't necessarily
she
mean
has had
that her and Chuck,
relations.
like,
See, like an angel down there, nothing.
smashed. I hate that term. But yeah.
I think so. I do. Just because of the way Chuck acts in Atomic Hearts, I do think that they had relations.
Fair enough. But yeah, I don't know. It just implied that to me. But you're right. Yeah, maybe that's. Oh, this whole plan the thing. It makes it all so much more icky.
It does.
Oh, yeah.
But okay, the thing is, I was thinking about this after the episode.
Fine.
I was like, is this worse than Sam sleeping with Ruby, even though then it's like technically not his, they have nothing together, because it's it's Jen, but it's
I know. Oh yeah, so like the
episode,
fact that she's like a vessel rather than like as a demon.
No, as in like in the French Mistake.
Yeah.
when
Oh yeah, you're right.
Sam
We talked about that.
sleeps with
You're right.
Jen. Is this not like on the same level?
This is on the same level. It is. That still doesn't mean that this should have happened to Sam. There's no revenge here.
No.
But I
Obviously not.
agree.
But like, it's just like
I still can't get past how problematic that was in the French Mistake. Like,
right. It's not your like
that's
husband
not
that you're
your
sleeping
wife.
with.
That's not your wife. Sorry. Anyway, yeah, you're right. Yeah, but I think this whole dinner situation was a bit where I was like, ugh, this is bad. And I think this is worse. And I was going to say this earlier. This is worse because, and I guess Becky doesn't know this, but I don't think she would have cared even if she did, which makes her character worse. That Sam has been recently questioning reality, right?
Oh, yeah.
So,
God, I didn't even think about that aspect of this episode.
right? So that when he like does eventually come out of this like drug haze and is like, where am I? He literally doesn't know whether he's like, his mind has broken and he's gone off on some like Lucifer rampage.
That's true.
Or what has that happened? So for him, this is like a terrifying episode.
Right, yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, I guess the only saving grace is that he does see Becky immediately and is probably like, God damn it.
Yeah.
But he's tied to a bed when he becomes lucid.
Exactly. And I think he does have these like lucid periods in between this as well, where his head is getting all fuzzy.
Yeah.
And it must have been like, what is happening to me? Is this Lucifer? Is this like hell coming through? So yeah, this is a real bad time for Sam. I mean, obviously.
Yeah.
So,
that's why we also need another sort of POV from Sam's point of view for this episode. But maybe we get that. Well, we won't get that next episode. This episode's going to be forgotten.
Yeah, because he doesn't really tie those things together in this episode either to make... Because, like, what she's doing is horrendous. And I think if we'd had that point of view of, like, you've made me question reality again after I'm, like, having very much an issue with this precise thing, which makes it a whole lot worse. Yeah, I don't know. Because this is the bit where he, like, comes out of his, like, fuzziness. And he's, like, holding his head in pain and stuff. He sort of goes, like, what am I doing here? So Becky sits on Sam's lap and kisses him to distract him while she, like, drugs his drink. Yeah.
Horrendous.
I think
absolutely horrendous.
If one saving grace this episode is that I don't feel like they ever justify her actions. Do you know what I mean?
No.
Like, I know Sam is nice to her at the end. I think that's just, and we'll talk about that when we get there, but I think that is just like Sam's character. But I think the beat of the episode was he has no reason to forgive her or be nice to her at all. Right? He's not, that wasn't like expected for him to do. Which was, I guess, a good thing here. So yeah, he goes back into his like lovely trance, and she just is like feeling better, and he says, "Now that I'm with you." So then we cut to, what's going on in this town. There's a guy pitching, like practicing his bat. I don't know baseball terms. He's doing a thing with a bat. He's hitting a ball with a bat.
Yes. I think it's batting practice. I think that's what that's called.
Sure. I've only ever played rounders, which in my opinion is harder than baseball because the bat is smaller.
It's pretty much the same. Okay, yeah. In that context, yeah.
But you still have to run.
But it's pretty much the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So he's doing this, and we see a guy. He's not Guy. He's a different guy.
I know. How confusing.
He has ginger hair, brown hair, auburn.
Ginger.
Yeah.
It's hair.
Yeah, it's hair. He has hair. And he's making a hand motion like he's using the Force in Star Wars. And he turns the batting machine up to 11. Spinal Tap reference. Yep. And the guy dies because he gets hit with too many balls. That's what happens.
Well, one of them hits him directly in the face, crushing his skull because it was going too fast.
Why does it have that setting?
It's so that you can practice hit, because some pitchers can throw balls really, really fast, like hundreds of miles.
I feel like you should have to like press down a safety lever to make it go that much. So like a child lock.
I mean, you should, and also like you should probably have someone spotting you while you're doing this stuff, so that exact thing doesn't happen.
So if you get like brain,
a person with magic powers turning it up,
or like it could just be broke. Like the mechanism could just be broken and drift. So you should always have someone with you when you're getting balls thrown at your head.
So this guy has died. He's gotten blood to the face, a ball to the face, and squished his brains in. So we're then outside Becky's apartment. I guess it is an apartment because you see the corridor in the back. Anyway, and Dean's ringing the doorbell, and he holds up a waffle iron to Sam, and it's like,
Me being supportive. Congratulations to you and the missus.
Thanks.
It's a waffle iron, non-stick. Hey, you just, I actually don't know how to use it. Are we good?
Is this Chekhov's waffle iron? It gets used later on. You can't show a cast iron waffle iron without someone getting hit with it in the episode / movie. Anyway, that was lame.
Absolutely, what it is. And he's like, great, because there's a case in this town.
Guy wins Powerball, gets squished by a truck. Second guy went from the bench to the majors. Oh, and 1 week later, his face was the catcher's mitt.
And then Becky like carries on. It says, our first thought was Crossroads Demon. Ha 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 ha. You got it in one. Anyway, But that's a 10-year time frame on like the way that she talks. She's like changed her voice and is like walking around as if like she's the big bad boss kind of thing. And then she does something that made me like, most things I can kind of not really cringe at, but this thing, she says, we thought it was a cursed object that bad day at Blackrock. And for some reason, that made me really uncomfortable. And I realized it's because it's exactly what we do. We start talking about them, and then we start referring to other episodes that there is. And I was just like, oh God. Like, we'll talk about a scenario and literally be like, oh, like they did in XYZ episode.
Oh my God, we do that. Oh no.
Yeah.
Like I said, we're all Becky Rosen on the inside.
We are.
You have to confront that with yourself.
And then I separated. I was like, but if there was a weird case in town, I don't think I would be like, oh, so in the episode that they fought this monster. No, I would just be like, bye.
Yeah, I'm leaving.
I'm not staying here anymore.
Because she's role-playing is what she's doing. That's why she's putting on the voice and the stance and everything. This is LARPing to her.
And the way she's dressed.
Yeah. Whereas you're right. Like, I've never had the urge to investigate a weird thing. Oh.
Nope.
No. I was like, does the finale of Supernatural count? Does it count? I think it counts.
Yes, I think it counts. But I mean, like, I have never had the urge to go to like a haunted mansion because it's a haunted mansion kind of thing.
100% not.
But yeah. But that's all to say that I would never do what Becky did in real life.
Yeah, no. But that's, like we were saying before, to her, Sam Winchester is just a character, and this is just a role that she's playing. Like, it's not real to her.
Right.
And I don't understand how it's still kind of not real to her at the end of this episode. That moment was missing. 100%.
Yeah. She didn't really have that much of a role in her initial episode. The episode of the convention, she's not really part of it. Like, there's ghosts kind of things. So I can kind of get with those two that maybe you could be a bit dismissive and still think of Sam and Dean as characters in a show. But this, you were actively involved. Like I said, she stabbed a demon.
But then we rightly said that when like Chuck comes to confront her later in the show, she's like, I don't care who you are. Maybe she just doesn't. Like, Becky's just doesn't care. Like, you know, she's just,
Maybe.
or she's so internalized that like all this is real and just part of reality that it just doesn't faze her at all.
So I did say that we get her introduction, and like the way that she talks to Chuck the first time, she's saying like, I know the show's not real, and I know it's just books and all this kind of stuff, and then Chuck is like, actually it's all real. She's like, yes, I knew it.
Yeah.
So like, is that validation? Like, you can never turn away somebody's validation of something, and I think getting it validated just didn't click that it's actually, like, you can say something is real but still not believe that it's 100%
right. And like that
real.
happens though, because like, especially with something like this, because I've been to conventions where like people are dressed as demons or whatever, right? They have like the full sclera lenses in, but your mind, like Becky, never goes to the fact like, oh, they could be a demon. Like, why would you think that? That's great. That's kind of weird. And I think that for her, that's kind of the same thing, right? She's never been able to separate the like fantasy from the reality of this, so it's not scary to her at all.
I don't know. There's something about stabbing somebody that makes it too real.
Yeah.
Like, I don't think I could. Because you stab somebody, right? Like, because that's so visceral.
Yeah,
and
you're so right. Like, you're so right. I think they shouldn't. I think that they shouldn't have had her stab him. I think that's it. Because it made her a bit of like the hero at the end, and she didn't really need that redemption because she didn't deserve it. No. And I think her coming out of this still thinking that it's all kind of like fun and games is interesting. Right? And it's hard to do that if you stab somebody.
Right. Because, like, again, obviously this is TV, so everybody has super strength, but she stabs it right through him.
So like, whoa. Yeah. Wild.
That's not nothing. That's not nothing.
I have Becky. What a character.
Right. She needs to find somebody to talk to. Let's just put it that way.
But then she all sorts it out. She all sorts it all out in her head, doesn't she? So, like, she does.
Yeah.
And again, in inverted commas, grow up. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Back to the episode.
We've done so many today. It's fine.
No, it's all good. It's all good. So Dean's like, so you're working the case together? And it sounds like, yeah, I know, right? I guess all those Chuck Shirley books paid off. It's like, but don't you remember that Chuck was like a prophet?
No,
like,
it's cool. No one remembers anything.
God. No. Dean's like, all right, well, I don't know what kind of mojo you're working here, but, you know, believe me, I'm going to find out. And Sam's like, that's my wife you're talking to. Dean's like, you're not even acting like yourself. And he's like, how am I not? You married Becky Rosen. And then Becky's like, what are you saying? Am I a witch? Or maybe I'm a siren? Ever occurred to you that, you know, we're just, I don't know, happy? And then Dean kind of like completely ignores that. He says, come on, Sam. All right, obviously some people's dreams are coming true in this town. Don't you think it's a little bit of a coincidence? And Sam's like, well, you know, what Becky and I have is real. And if you can't accept that, that's your problem, not ours. And Dean's like, maybe she's part of it because for whatever reason, you're her dream. I was like, harsh.
I mean, brother, like that's something a brother would say.
Yeah. That's true. Yeah. And then Dean does make a good point. He says, if you really do care about her, and I'd be worried because people who are getting their little fantasies or whatever seem to end up dead pretty quick. And then Sam says, you know, I went after her, Dean. Maybe that's what's bugging you, that I'm moving on with my life. I mean, you took care of me and that's great, but I don't need you anymore. And that's like, stabby stab. But the thing is, he knows that Sam's not acting like himself. So I don't know if that would be like a full stab or just like a little nudge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. This is what I mean about like Dean's. I think Dean's not sure what's real and what's not either. Because again, Sam, he's worried that Sam was going to start acting differently at any point, and now he is. So he's like, is this a Sam thing or is this a Becky thing?
Right. I think he's probably leaning more towards a Becky thing because it's Becky.
And also because she like randomly showed up in Vegas. What's the odds of that happening? You know?
Exactly.
It's clearly a Becky thing.
Especially if it's... Yeah, exactly. Especially if it's the same week every year that they go. Like, how long has Becky been waiting for this kind of opportunity? Yeah. We don't know. Because she's been saving it. Whatever that means.
My face is making a face.
So Dean's on the phone with Bobby and he says, why can't you, I don't want another hunter. Why can't you do it? And he's like, fine, what's his name? And we all know what that means. It's Garth. It's Garth. But we don't get to see him yet.
Sometimes.
We get back into Becky's apartment and she's sitting on the bed and just has this like child journal where she's written all this like, I love Sam Winchester. Or no, Sam loves Becky or whatever it is.
It's another TV thing. I never did this as a teenager. Did you do this as a teenager?
I had a boyfriend
calling you out.
So. Not to this extent. Like I didn't like fill a page with it, but I wrote it a couple times. Yeah, like I did his initials with a heart and my initials.
All right. Okay, maybe it's not TV. But did you do it because you saw it on TV? That's the real question.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah. So yeah, maybe it is a TV thing that was. But then, never mind. I was going to say then you see it on trees, but you see it in trees in movies.
Yeah.
So
what's real? What's real anymore?
I don't know.
I wonder if teenagers still do. Sorry, no, I'm going to stop this tangent. It's fine. Go ahead.
I would say no because I don't think they use paper.
I agree.
Yeah. She then, like a marker, she marks it down and then lifts the journal up and like inhales it. I wonder if she like got his cologne and sprayed it in the book. That's why
I just thought she was using those like smelly gel pens.
Yeah.
But you're right, it's probably the other thing.
It could be both. It could be. I mean, just to, take it to another creepy level. But would you not do this as Becky? Would you not just like steal something of his and keep it?
She definitely had. Still at the end of this episode, she has something of his. 100%.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Something. I don't know what, but there is something. And then it like leaves a red mark on her nose. So all of these like really, I don't want to call them intimate moments, but they are kind of intimate moments. I couldn't watch. I don't know. There was just something about it that really made me like
cringe.
Yeah.
It's because it's not real, right? So like Sam doesn't really find it cute. Like the candlelit dinner thing, like he didn't really like think she looks amazing. And I feel I just feel a bit sorry for Becky, but like not in a good way. Where you're like actually like, what are you doing?
Yeah. It's out of concern. Let's put it that way.
And like I'm sure she probably could find someone who did find all those traits endearing, right? Like that for sure is a thing that could happen. And it's like, why are you settling for something that's not real? Why are you actively going after this? Like, I don't know.
Because again, at the end of this episode, I don't think she's let go. Well, she hasn't let go. She doesn't want to sign the annulment papers, but like she hasn't let go of Sam.
She doesn't learn her lesson
even after all of this.
any way.
No, not in a single way. So Sam walks in and notices the redness on on her nose, and like he licks his thumb and wipes it off, which is gross. Just go get a tissue. And he's like, I have a present for you, and it's press IDs, and she's like, oh, his and hers fake IDs. He then shows Becky a newspaper article where a junior salesman has gone from that position to CEO. And she's like, oh, you think the CEO is a lead? And at this point, Sam sees the journal and like is looking at it. And then he pulls this face of like endearment, I guess, and then he like hugs it to himself. And then Becky says, "Let's go pretext him."
Yeah. Which again, I've never heard that phrase ever in my whole life. Yeah.
No.
How weird.
No. And then we cut to Dean, and he's walking through a restaurant, clearly looking for his new partner, and he sees like this gruff looking man, and he's about to go talk to him, and then like his wife or partner or whoever comes over and sits down, and you just hear, "Hey, you Dean?" and like turns around. In the transcript, it says a short man is sitting at a table serving milkshake. I think he means a skinny man, because Garth is not short.
No. We were talking about this before the podcast. Like, getting DJ Calls to do this is such a genius move, because he is the same height as them. Like, it works so well. I think they were super hyped to have him. I'm sure Sarah Gamble said something like, "Oh, it's really good when you write a DJ Calls type and you get him." I love him so much. He's so good as Garth. Like, perfection.
Yeah. He then like, so he's drinking a milkshake, and he just says, "Oh, I thought you'd be taller," which I thought was so funny. Yeah. Because I'm pretty sure that's what everybody says to Jensen.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Because he's so tall. Like, they're so tall on screen. Like, there's this giant people.
Yeah.
I always think the opposite, actually. Like, I think, like, the height is a lot. I'm always like, I thought he would be shorter. I think because he's most of the time stood next to Jared. Like, yeah. He just looks like a short man, and he's not a short man.
Nope, he is not. Jared is so tall. God, he's too tall. He's too tall. So they introduce themselves. Garth says,
he told me two things. One, he's tangling with the Major League Nest up in Oregon Territory. numero dos, he said you'd be all surly and premenstrual working with me.
Which I thought was great.
I love that line so much. Dean's face is just like, now you can't act like that because like he's already called you out on it. It's such a smart move.
It is. Yep. But he's like, but hey, sticks and stones, man. Like, who cares? Dean then puts down the paper and he's like, oh, I think I found a case. Check out the headline. And Garth's like, first things first. And he like flips through. And then it's the famous line. Oh, Marmaduke, you crazy. So then they go to where the junior salesman of Mutual Freedom became CEO. And before we started recording, Amy said that she just wrote down Mutual Freedom, but she doesn't remember why.
I underlined it. So I just thought it was really funny that they called this Mutual Freedom, because that's the whole point of Supernatural, is that they're all trying to get their freedom, and they named it that. And at the time I was watching the episode, this was really profound to me, and now I'm saying out loud, it's a bit much.
I mean, yeah, so I can't remember who it was and what episode it was, but like everything has to like be approved if you're going to name something. Yeah. Oh yeah. It was Mark Sheppard in the convention.
Yes.
So like everything is intentional. So clearly this was somebody being like, ha 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 ha.
Yeah.
Ha 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 ha. Team free will.
Yeah. I was like, Amy who watches Supernatural is different to Amy who watches the podcast, because while I'm watching Supernatural, I'm like, oh my God, this is, everything's linked. And then I go to like discuss it and I'm like, no, girl, get it together.
The red string is getting tangled.
I'm like, it's not that deep. I'm horrendous to watch that with, by the way. I shout at the screen. Like, you should never watch Supernatural with me. Yep.
Or you should and be really entertained.
Who knows?
Yeah. So there's this woman who sat next to the secretary, and she's like berating the secretary, saying, "Are you trying to humiliate me? It's Marsha with SHA, not CIA." I'm like, did she think your name was Marcia?
I mean, she did misspell her name, but she doesn't deserve to be shouted at, you know? Yeah. We're not for it.
It's just like, no. Maybe you said your name weird on the phone. Like, I get that all the time. People don't understand me. And as this sort of wraps up, Becky and Sam walk out of the office and are like, thanks again to the secretary. And Garth's like, hey, isn't that your... And he's like, yes. Awkward. So they stand up. I made a note. Dean's jacket and sweater combination.
Oh, I wrote the same thing. I love the tweed / wool jacket.
Yes. It was, I don't know, the grey with the black, just, I don't know, the monochrome.
It was
none of it
good.
All. It was just good. And the blue tie.
It was good. There was something real good about that outfit. And he like never wears it again, I swear. But like, whew.
I know. He was trying to impress Garth. Yeah. That's what it was.
I know how to dress.
Yeah. So Sam, like they're sort of trying to dismiss Dean and Garth, just saying like, look, the guy's clean. You know, there's no reason to talk to him. Becky grilled him like a pro. She's a real natural, which means that interview was horrible.
I wish I could have seen it.
Because Sam is like, doesn't see any bad sides to her, right? Everything's so good and so positive. So like, no, it was awful.
It was bad, yeah.
Yeah. And Sam's like, what's with this scrawny guy? He just says temp. That's so rude.
They're so rude to Garth. They're rude to a lot of people, actually.
Yeah.
But particularly Garth. I don't know why Garth. Look, this is why Garth didn't name one of his kids after you, Dean. Just saying. This line here. That's why. Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's true. That is true. So then they go and interview the CEO, and he's like, oh, you know, throw a rock and a reporter these days, eh? Because like he's just getting interviewed by another newspaper. And he's like, Dean's just asking regular questions like, how did you get the gig? And he just says, the board came to me and asked, and I said yes. He's like, just out of the blue. He says, pretty much. He's like, how do you know any idea how you landed on, you know, the board's radar? And he's like, well, they didn't say. He's like, is there anything that excited them about your qualifications? I thought he was going to go with like nepotism, because that's what it feels like.
It does feel like that, yeah. But the guy does look as equally as confused as they are about why he's in this job. Like, genuinely.
Yeah, exactly. And the guy's like, you know, what's with the third degree? Like, why are you being so hostile? And Garth is just straight to the point, says, no offense, but we're just wondering if you got here by like nefarious means. And he's like, whoa, like,
Oh, I didn't mean, of course, corporate backstabbing. I'm sorry. I meant more like, you know, black magic or hoodoo.
which honestly, like, I feel like it'd be less weird to be asked that question rather than like corporate espionage.
I feel that too. Like,
You know?
oh yeah, you know, jokey. Like, what kind of black magic landed you in this job? I can get away with that.
Yeah.
But the way Garth delivers it is not. It's not right. Yeah.
Yeah, because that's what Dean does go on to. He's like, ha ha ha, you know, he's got jokes, just a jokester. You know, so, you know, why don't you tell us about your big dream? And he's like, on the record, it's great. It's off the record. He's like, not my big dream. He didn't actually want the job. And then as this is happening, his wife walks, or the woman we saw earlier walks in, says, your secretary's such an idiot. Rude. I'll be at the printers this afternoon. He's like, all right, dear, see you at dinner. He said, just make sure that idiot. I really don't like the way she talks about the secretary. It's like, don't degrade another woman.
I know, right? Come on,
No.
where's the sisterhood? Where?
Yeah. And she's like, just have the idiot make a reservation. Here's a tip. Remind her she works for the CEO. One more screw up, she's fired. And this is when Garth clocks like, oh, so your wife's pretty stoked with the promotion. He's like, honestly, I've never seen her happier.
I have no idea how I'm gonna tell her I have to resign. The news is just gonna
Kill her?
How terrible is his wife as a person if this is her happy?
Right? Right? Oh, God.
I felt so sorry for this guy. He looked so downtrodden. I was like, oh my gosh, this is awful for you. Yeah, poor guy.
It's like, if you want to have everything in control like this, why don't you be the person in control?
Yeah.
Why don't you be the CEO? Like, because you don't want the stress. You just want the power, which is just rude.
See, that's why. It's bad. It's bad optics.
Yep. I do find it funny that she's given a name and he's not.
Oh, yeah.
He's just CEO.
Yeah.
As as they are leaving, they run into Marsha, and Dean is a bit more hostile with her.
Because he knows.
You know, he wants to ask her a few questions. He's like, she says, "I'm sorry. Can you schedule it with his girl?" And then Dean like puts a hand on his shoulder to stop her from leaving. He's like,
You know what? I'm trying to save you from a really bad accident.
Are you threatening me?
No, I'm pointing out a pattern. Why do people think I'm threatening them?
Because it sounded exactly like a threat, dude.
I think Dean needed...
You're a scary guy.
Dean needed Garth more around him to be like, don't act like that.
yeah, exactly. And Marsha's like, I have no idea what you're talking about. Leave me alone, or should I have security called? Back in the apartment, Sam's looking at their investigation wall and something's not like adding up. And Becky just says, we'll catch a break soon. And she tweets, as soon as we're done working, romantic honeymoon getaway. But then Sam starts to like groan in pain and things go a little bit crazy for him. And Becky goes over to her bag but has seen that the vial has leaked and is now empty.
Yo.
So she cannot drug him again. Marsha is, so we're back in the insurance place. And Marsha is walking out of the building and she's on the phone with somebody. But we then see the same guy from the baseball field, and he's doing his whole force hand movement. And the light fixture breaks and falls towards her, but Dean comes along and saves the day. I will say, she gracefully stands up. In the fact that she's in like 6-inch heels, she just
does it.
Like, whoop.
Good for her.
Like, wow. Yeah, especially after being like tackled to the ground by like a 6'2", I don't know, 180-pound
exactly
man.
Right, for sure.
I don't know how heavy he is, but he's a big dude.
It said on his like FBI file, if we went back and looked at that.
Well, so when I had Jared sign that, he said that this is not right. Like, he's not actually that weight. And I was like, yes, that makes sense. But I can't remember what it was. How was the poster? They kind of shuttle her away. And then Garth asks her what's up. And she explains that she was at lunch with a friend and this guy heard her bitching. Next thing I know, he makes me an offer. You know, Craig. Oh, his name's Craig. His job for my soul, you know, I thought it was hilarious, but what have I got to lose? And Garth is like, well, there's your soul. What kind of demon deal is this? Timeline's whacked. So, talking to Dean. And this is where Garth is like, you know, let me back up here. You made a deal with a demon in exchange for your everlasting. Except those are 10-year contracts. Why is the bill coming due so fast? He then tells her that she's going to stay with his cousin.
I love all this.
Here's the plan. I drop this lady at my cousin's. He'll stop anything trying to get her. We find Sam, hopefully fix this. Everybody's home in time for America's Got Talent. Now you'll be living with a triracial paraplegic sniper until this all blows over, okay?
It's just like, okay.
She's just like, okay.
And Dean is looking at him like, what? Who is this guy?
I think he's...
When did he become competent?
Yeah, I think he's kind of impressed. You know? Mm-hmm. I think Dean holds Garth in more respect than we think he does. He's like, yeah, actually, he's a hunter, despite, you know, his appearances, yeah. Looks like he could, like, blow over in a stiff wind kind of thing.
Yeah. Yep. And that's why they get to have a little dance solo or dance duo together.
I love that episode so much.
So good. So we then go back to Becky's apartment. And she's on the phone with Guy and asking where he is. And Sam's like groaning with his hand to his head. He's like, I'm losing Sam. And Sam's like, Becky, what's happening? What's going on? He's like, she says, don't you remember we're married? He says, oh, I'm going to call Dean. And then he gets hit with a waffle iron.
Foreshadowing, man. If you hadn't been supportive, Dean, Sam wouldn't got clocked with that waffle iron.
That's true.
Yeah. I don't know what that says.
And this whole thing would have not been done. I want to know how Becky got any of this done. I mean, it's pure determination.
Oh, yeah. Oh, my gosh. She's like 5 nothing. Like, yeah.
Yep.
Dragging Sam's, like, body. Get him up on the bed.
Dead weight.
Get him up on the bed. Yeah. It's...
And, like, nobody questioned her. She's in an apartment building.
Yeah, it's wild. I think... That's part of, like, Sam's confusion when he wakes up, too. Like, how will I get here?
Yeah, right.
Absolutely. So, this was a lot of determination. More so because she took him to the cabin as well. So she...
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. It wasn't in her apartment. She had to transport Sam, this giant, by herself.
How did she do this?
Determination.
Why did we not get a scene of her rolling him in a rug? Like, I would think that would have been so good. That would have been funny. So yeah, Sam wakes up in this cabin and he's tied to a bed, Misery style. This is all this made me think of, the movie Misery, which I cannot watch. I read the book.
I've never actually seen it.
It's very good. It's also terrifying, and I think the book is better. Maybe people might not agree with me on that, but also like it's a very
I know the concept.
It's a very similar thing, right? She's a fan of his work, I think I can't remember in Misery
Right,
if she
right,
wants him to like change the ending of his book or something. I can't remember, or is like trying to encourage him to write more, something like that.
It was because she was killing off the character so he could end the series, so he didn't have to do any more on the book. And she didn't want that; she wanted more of the book, so he has to rewrite it. I don't know how I know all of this
in your brain,
but I do.
It's so funny how like certain pop culture things, just like everybody knows them. It's just so ingrained.
Yeah.
I think it's just like then parody on parody on parody. And this is one of them, surely.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Becky is concerned about Sam because she hit him with waffle iron. And she's like, how many fingers am I holding up? Right. And Sam is obviously out of his drugged state, which is why she tied him up. Yeah. Because he's like, where am I? What's the hell is going on? Which is, like I said earlier, kind of terrifying for him because, like, how did he get there? What is going on? Where's Lucifer? Yeah, obviously Sam sees Becky and he's like, you know, how can I calm down? Like, you hogtied me. And then he's like, why am I not wearing pants as well? It's just, honestly.
I want to not talk about this all for long, but like, he is also, like, I think it's supposed to be implied that he is like naked under the blanket because the blanket is very strategically placed.
I don't know. I think for the sake of my own brain, I think he has to be wearing underwear. I would hope so. I don't think Becky would go that far. She would. I don't.
Oh no, I think you're right. I don't think Becky would go that far because she does say she didn't even their marriage. So yeah.
So yeah, because this is really bad enough, you know.
Yes,
like
true.
The whole kidnapping situation, drugging situation, the like kissing, the whole like forcing him to spend time with her. It's all bad. It's all bad all the way down. So yeah.
And they don't really show either Sam or Dean in underwear. They show them shirtless,
they
but
never
like
have
never
them,
like bottom half.
Oh no, there's that.
So I think
my brain and my encyclopedic knowledge of Supernatural. There is that one scene of Dean in like sleep shorts wearing a dressing gown in the bunker.
Okay.
I think I think those are long too. I think those are long too. Maybe my brain supplied the sleep shorts. That's bad. As I say, we're all Becky Rosen on the inside.
Yep.
So yeah, she's concerned for him. She's acting very concerned. I think it's almost a backpedaling of what she's done because she doesn't know if she can like re-drug him at this point. It's just So something beeps in the background and she's like, finally, and she hurries over to her laptop. And it's a call from Guy, you know, her Wiccan friend. And, you know, she explains the issue. There's a big problem. I've got Sam tied to the bed. I need the elixir. Like, this isn't the honeymoon I had in mind. She says, well, some of it is, but not in this context.
You need consent.
Yeah, you need consent.
you need consent.
And she says, is this stuff wearing off faster and faster? And he, like, Guy is just basically like a dealer, right? Which is the whole point of this, is that, you know, it is wearing off faster and faster. That's why he's like having to up the ante each time to kind of lure her into selling her soul.
I also thought that maybe it's the fact that Sam's mind is broken, that it might not last as long. Because it is always trying to find the reality of things. But it probably is more is it drug dealer, demon
drug
deal
analogy. I think
situation probably.
So she explains like, oh shit, they haven't even consummated their marriage. Again, Becky, girl, no. And she's like,
and you know why? It's because she does feel guilty.
She does feel guilty about it, but she knows in her mind, like, this is what I mean with fantasy and reality, they're all twisted for her. But she knows, I think, on a deep down level, this is all wrong, right? Yeah. Because she said we were taking it slow because love is forever, but everything just feels weird now. So he agrees to meet with her in an hour to sort it out. Sam hears everything because she talks really loudly.
Right.
And he's like, you dosed with a love potion. And she's like, yeah, I used a social lubricant. No. And Sam even says, like, you roofied me. And I do like the fact that they are implicit in what she's done here. Like, they don't kind of dance around it of like, this came from a good place, whatever. No, they don't do it. They're like, no, you drugged him.
Yep.
You know, she's like, oh, we had a great time together. And Sam's like tugging on his watch going, I'm thrilled. So Sam explains that, you know, Guy must be killing all those people. So he has retained his memories then from when he was drugged because he remembers the case and everything.
Yeah.
And she's like, oh, it's not that guy. And he's like, but he's a witch. She's like, no, he's a Wiccan. Wiccans are good, like Glinda of Oz. Becky.
But Glinda's not good, but anyway. Yeah,
I agree. Yes.
Nope. She is not a good lady.
And even Sam's like, you're not this stupid, Becky. So she doesn't agree with him that it must be something else. And Sam's like, what? It's never something else. When are there ever two crazy things happening in the town at the same time? The guy's the creep and you're on his list. And he's like, no, he's my friend. And he says, like, no, he's your dealer. Like, how much is he charging you for a love potion or Spanish fly? And she's like, oh, he gives it to me for free. And she's like really smug about this.
And he said it wouldn't even work unless you already loved me deep down. It just activates it.
So you think I love you?
Deep down?
Then untie me.
Which, yes, Sam, right? If she really believed it, she wouldn't have tied you up.
Exactly.
But instead she gags him with the hanky. He says something to her which I swear is supposed to be like him just like swearing at her, which I think is just so good.
I think so too.
Because you never hear Sam swear. Like we always hear Dean like get on the like cusp of swearing with his like friggin' and whatever because he's not allowed to. But Sam is very hear him swear at Becky would have been great. She just goes, I love you too. So she goes back to this restaurant where they're getting ready to do the reunion. Guy is there. And he like offers her the bottle of elixir and then kind of takes it back. And he's like, we have to talk about price. And this is where I like equate him to a drug dealer because he's like saying, oh, we're a little past the freebie stage here.
But I thought we were besties.
Oh, honey. That is so depressingly Becky. I mean, you're so pathetic, it actually loops back around again to cute.
So mean.
But she needed to hear it.
She needed to hear it. Yeah. Like, you don't need to do any of this. You should be taking a look at yourself and thinking, what are the choices that I have made to get into the situation?
Exactly.
Yeah. Some introspection has to happen. It does not, I feel.
No.
So she says, do you accept personal checks? And he's like, no, but I will take your soul. And his eyes flick to Crossroad Demon Red,
We haven't seen it in a minute, but they're still about.
I know. I kind of like, oh, this is nostalgic. Becky clocks him as a Crossroads Demon because, she's up on the lore.
Yep.
And he explains that, like, reunions are great for him because people are, like, really pathetic, trying to, like, look powerful, whatever it takes.
He's basically Ursula in this moment.
He 100% is, yeah. And Sam's like, Becky says, Sam was right, you killed all those people. And Guy says, but for legal reasons, they had unfortunate accidents. And I feel like we spoke about this when we were talking about Dean's Crossroads deal, because we were like, can he die in the lead up to his deal coming? And we kind of agreed that he couldn't, but this kind of puts that on his head and that they can.
That's true.
So all that time he was being well reckless with his life, like he could have just died early and gone to hell anyway.
But it was demon intervention that was causing these accidents.
That's true. So maybe there is protection. I think there is. I think that's partly why Crowley's so mad when he appears. Because they should get their whole term. It's kind of guaranteed.
And like the Well, I actually thought that guy was supposed to be a witch, not another demon, because that would make more sense. Because sometimes witches get their powers from demons.
Yeah, I thought so too. I 100% thought that the Auburn guy, the Force power Jedi guy, I thought he was supposed to be a witch. 100%.
Yeah.
And I think that could have been a better loophole for Guy if he had been. But the fact that he was a demon, I think, kind of cinched that. I don't know.
But I guess the problem is, well, maybe it's a problem, maybe it's not, I don't know. Just thinking of Shut Up, Dr. Phil, killing a witch seems to be a little bit more complicated than killing a demon.
Yeah, they don't have... Do they have witch killing bullets yet? I don't think they do.
No, I don't think so.
They do. I'm not sure. Do they? No, I don't think they've successfully killed a witch.
They might have... No, they never used it for the cult. They used that for just demons.
Interesting. But yeah, so you're right. I don't know. So Becky's like, oh, so what? I hand over my soul, and like the next day a piano falls in my head, and he's like, no, I'd never do that to you, because you're special. She's like, I am. Again, like the naivety of Becky, and also jumping on any person that kind of shows her any positive attention, even if he's a crossroads demon, still believing him.
Right.
He's like, I wasn't thrilled to see your new husband was Sam freaking Winchester. If he knew that I was here talking to you, he'd probably... She's like, gank your ass. He's like, yes. Yeah. And I'm very protective of my ass. It's one of my best features. I love that. Yeah. So he offers her 25 years for her soul. And he's like, like kings don't even get this. It's a once in a lifetime kind of deal. I think he's made that. Oh,
so I think he talks about loopholes, and he specifically says no piano is guaranteed.
Yes.
Which means she would still not get 25 years, but something else would kill her, not a piano dropping on 100%.
Her head. You've been studying fairy lore, I see.
Who hasn't been?
I mean, it's very important that you do. You never know when you're going to be like taken in by the fae and then have to deal with their like bullshit.
Exactly. Protect yourselves, people.
Yeah. Make those good genie wishes.
Right.
So yeah, he's like, do this. And you promise not to breathe a word to the Winchesters. I'll be on my way. Sam will love you for the rest of your life. And she just says, I think I'll have that drink now, implying that she's going to go for the deal.
Yeah.
In Becky's apartment, I never talked about this at the beginning, and I meant to. Becky's apartment is decorated in the same wallpaper as in Changing Channels during their sitcom era. But it's like faded and yucky. And I just thought that was, I don't know, it's like a shadow of a happy life, maybe. I don't know what they were trying to do with that. Or that they just reused the wallpaper and I'm reading too much into it. But
well, I mean, obviously at this point the books have ended, so she wouldn't have seen that in the books. But like it feels like something she would do, right?
What, like pick a wallpaper?
Try to be close.
Yeah.
Yeah, like trying to simulate their life kind of thing.
I just think it's more of a like, they're trying to say something about the situation because like it's not all bright and shiny like it was in the sitcom of like A Perfect Life. And this is what Becky wants, but it's not. The wallpaper is actually like kind of gross.
Yeah. That's true.
I don't know.
Or you're just, J.K. Rowling in a baldy house.
Oh! Burn. Maybe this is why she does it. Maybe it was the spores.
It was. It's always been the spores.
Such a reference. So yeah, they go into Becky's apartment like guns drawn. They're ready to save Sam.
Yep.
Dean like picks up a framed wedding picture. I hope he kept that wedding picture. I don't know why. I just feel like he would. This is mean to Sam and very bad because this is a traumatizing situation. But I feel like Dean would have kept the wedding picture.
Oh yeah, for sure. He ribs on them with this all the time. So I clutched my head because I'm like, were they going to shoot Becky?
I think they were just going to like lightly threaten her, I guess.
Yeah,
just a light threaten. And I guess they don't know, like maybe she's a witch, like maybe they don't know that she's not, so it's best to go in prepared. or the witch is there. I don't know. Have they determined there's a crossroads demon? Yes, they have. So, yeah. It could disappear at any moment.
Maybe they think that the demon's going to be in the apartment for some reason.
I mean, they have Sam, like, they know that a demon basically has Sam captive, right? So, what's to think they don't? They haven't realized like kind of what they got, and I think there's a good enough reason. Garth looks through Becky's laptop and so her Twitter handle, if anyone wants to go look up if it's still there, I don't know if it's still there, is at Super Becky Rosen, all one word. And he's like, oh, she's got 11 Twitterers. Last post, going on a romantic trip with Hubster, 3 exclamation points. I guess she got excited. This whole bit of them figuring out where she is so circumstantial. Like, Dean holds up a picture of her standing outside this cabin with a fish, happens to turn it round and is like, says where it is. And I'm like, come on. Yeah. One thing that Garth says here, and this makes me love his character forever, because me and him, we're the same person. So you know exactly what I'm going to say. You know exactly what I'm going to say. Because Dean holds up this picture of Becky holding a fish and says,
That look romantic to you?
Oh, hell no. But I got this thing about fish. Dead eyes, man.
and I'm like, yes, I'm high-fiving you. I hate fish with their cold dead eyes. They're so creepy. They're horrible. And like going past the fish counter in the supermarket is like horrendous. They're just there staring at you. Why would you want that? Why? Me and Garth. I feel like we have a lot in common. I would have married Garth. So yeah, they found out that the cabin. So back at the cabin, Becky is, I don't even know what this is. So she's feeling really sorry. It's just so about her, right? She's feeling sorry for herself because she couldn't take Sam to the reunion because he's no longer drugged, and she's making him feel bad about it, despite the fact that he's led there on her bed, tied up and gagged. And she's like, I was going to show you off. Not that anyone actually knows who you are. Supernatural is not exactly popular, but you're tall and nice, and they'd all think I was happy. And Sam is just like not having it. He's still, you can't hear him because it's like handkerchief in his mouth. And she like lies down and puts her head on his chest. I'm like, oh. But that Sam's face is just like, he's also like, oh, you know.
You're right. Get off me.
I don't blame him. And she's like, can we talk? But then doesn't take out the handkerchief. So again, like, it's all one-sided. She's like, I know you don't love me. It's like, I know what I am. I'm a loser in school, in life. I guess that's why I like you so much. Which, burn.
Right.
Now,
what is that saying about the fans that like Sam? And what does that say about Sam?
It's so rude. It's so rude to the Sam girls. I'm so sorry they did you like this. Like, honestly.
Right.
It's bad. Like, what are they trying to say? More importantly, what are they trying to say about the people who vibe with Dean, right?
Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's true.
Stop that. Stop it. Stop psychoanalyzing me through the characters I relate to in media.
You're wrong anyway.
Yeah, it's wrong.
So wrong.
So she's like, oh, you know, I mean, you're not a loser, but you had that whole character arc about being a freak, and I can relate. And again, she doesn't see him as a real person. She's talking about his character arcs. Like, he's not.
Yes.
Yeah, he doesn't exist. And Sam's like, oh my God. She said, honestly, the only place people understood me was the message boards. They were grumpy and overly literal, but at least we shared a common passion, and I'll take it, you know. Then I met you guys, the real Sam and Dean, and I started dating Chuck. And she's like, it was amazing. Oh, yeah, but after you left, Chuck dumped me. No, we were wrong.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. I swear Chuck says that Becky left him.
I don't remember.
I swear.
Maybe they both have their own versions of this. Like,
it could be, yeah. They realized that each other weren't as cool as, like, them being obsessed with each other wasn't as cool as they thought it was going to be. So they were both kind of just like, let's just drift apart.
Yeah, there's like a level of obsession in a relationship that's like healthy, you know?
Yeah.
And I don't think that was it. She's like, I think I intimidated him with my vibrant sexuality. Okay.
Yeah.
And then she's like, I just want someone who loves me for me. Is that too much to ask? And then Sam's like trying to talk to her. And so she eventually takes the handkerchief out of his mouth. And he just says, if you want someone to love you for you, maybe don't drug them. I'm like, yes, Sam, get her.
Yep. And this is why he says what he says at the end of the episode is basically just to be like, you will find someone, you just have to be you in the right spaces.
Yeah.
Kind of.
And she's like, I want you, this was the only way. And it's not no. And she takes the vial out of her pocket, meaning that she made the deal, presumably to us. And he's like, Becky, you're better than this. And she's like, that's sweet, but I'm not so sure.
So I guess the deal was for the vial, right? So the potion would last forever, quote unquote. Not that as soon as they made the deal wasn't that Sam would love her immediately.
Yeah, I think she has to administer the potion. I think that's the final step of the deal, presumably.
Yeah, because she would have lost her soul otherwise.
Yeah.
Or has she lost her soul?
To be honest, this bit is all a bit muddy to me. Like the whole
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll figure it out between us. So the implication is that she sold her soul for this potion right now.
Yes.
So let's go with that. So then we cut to her sitting alone in a restaurant, which may be a suggestion that she didn't use it. Because I'm so confused by this. Because this is now the end of the reunion party that we see her in the restaurant. But I think it's supposed to be a flashback.
No.
No?
No. It's like,
See?
So does the vial have anything in it? I guess that's the question.
What's with the vial? There was no need for it. Well, apart from to give us a red herring. Because the bit in the restaurant now is in the future. Like, it happens after the vial with the bed.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's go down a bit more. We're just supposed to think she sold her soul. It's a fake out. Yeah. Okay, that's fine. So we see her then later sat in the restaurant at night. Is after the reunion, which is right because she was saying to Sam that she was missing the reunion basically to be with him there. So she's sitting alone. Guy comes up to her and is like, "You missed the party," and she's like, "Well, it's a weird night." And he's like, "So what are we thinking?" And she says, "Okay, I'm in." Maybe so the vial was like a temporary solution, but then she's decided to sell her soul to make it permanent or something. I don't know, whatever.
The other thing could be that she could take the vial, but it won't do anything. He's giving her a grace period basically of I'll let you go think about it, and then you can come back and tell me what you want to do.
That's it.
And so this is
okay.
Yeah, that's what she's doing here.
Fine. It was a bit confusing, is what I'm saying, timeline-wise.
Yeah.
I think they just... I don't know. Whatever. It doesn't matter. Let's go on. Let's move on.
Yes. Let's move on. So Becky... so Guy is like, "Oh, you're making the right choice." And he says, "I know. So we seal the deal with a kiss, right?" He's like, "Exactly. Pucker up, sweetheart." And just as he leans forward, she throws a lighter on the floor, which conveniently only lights up the alcohol that's on the floor. Okay.
That would happen. That would happen.
Okay.
Chemically.
Because it could be a flame resistant rug. I'll give it.
Yeah. Well, not just that. The carpet's probably a plastic, so it's more likely to just melt. And yeah, the fire will go to the fuel that burns the quickest first.
So it's a double strap. And Becky's like, "I'm not your sweetheart," and Garth, Dean, and Sam will come around the corner. And he's like, "Blueberry vodka, the answer to all life's problems."
What?
You're not wrong. And Becky's super excited. She's like,
"You see that, Sam? I did it just like we said. I am awesome. I'll be over here."
I do love that Guy instantly goes for Dean.
Yeah.
He's like, "Dean Winchester, this is really thrilling. Hey, can I have your autograph?" Sam, don't really care about him. It's all about Dean.
I mean, look, to be fair, well, yeah, and also Dean's a big deal in Hell, right?
That's true.
Because, you know, he's been there. I mean, there's Sam's the whole Lucifer's vessel thing, but they're not really, like, care about Lucifer right now. But yeah, Dean's like, you know, a major torturer, someone to look up to.
It's true. He's also a crossroads demon, which probably means he talks to Crowley or is in contact with Crowley. How much has Crowley talked about Dean?
So much. Like,
too much.
Why am I so like this? I was listening to a playlist the other day, and Winner Takes It All by ABBA came on, and I was like, this is such a Crowley song. This is post breakup with Dean, where he's like singing to Cass, and the winner takes it all. Listen to that song and tell me that's not right.
I can hear the song in my head, but yeah.
It's on my Drowley playlist, I swear. Like, yeah.
That's so funny.
He'd be singing that sad in the karaoke bar with his husky voice.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. Okay. So Dean's like, yeah, sure, you know, I'll carve it into your spleen. And he asks how he's running his scam. He's like,
How do you mean, Dean?
Signing 10-year deals. Snuffing them that week.
Well, I would never. No. Rules of the road. Can't lay a hair on any of my clients.
Right. So how you cheating it?
I'm not a cheater. I'm an innovator.
it's a loophole. When someone bargains away their soul, you know, he gets a decade technically, but accidents happen. And that is basically wrapping up the plot, saying, so you're causing the accidents, collecting early. And he's like, no, it's not me. You know, I don't get my hands dirty. It's my capable intern. And as he says that, his intern appears and they all go flying off into different directions. And he's like yelling at the guy, like, what time did I tell you to be here? And he's like scraping off the burn mark so that the guy can get out. The intern guy goes after Sam, and Guy goes after Dean, and Dean starts to do he throws holy water, but it doesn't really do anything. Then he starts to do the exorcism, but gets like chokeholded.
This always happens to Dean. This never happens to Sam. Sam never gets choked.
No, but then again, the guy is kind of short, so he has to kind of go for the shorter guy.
Maybe that's why.
Yeah. Becky sort of is around somewhere, so Sam tells her to run. Garth gets up from where he's been blown across the room, but then gets hit on the head and on the table and gets knocked out again. Sam is also starting to be choked, but like force choked. Chokehold, not force choked. And then we see a knife go through the guy, and it's Becky who stabbed him, and the guy falls forward, and she's just like, whoa. Yeah. We've talked about this all episode. This is the moment. This is a moment that should have been more than a whoa, but it's not.
I still don't think it's real to her. I think she's just LARPing.
No. Yeah. Sam then throws the knife to Dean, who then holds it to Guy's throat, and he's threatening him, and he's like, how many deals have you got in this town? He says 15, and he's like, call them off or I'll cut a loophole in your throat. And then Guy just says, oh crap, because I guess he can sense that Crowley's coming, because you hear Crowley in the background saying, hello boys.
I love this so much.
Then Dean goes, oh crap.
So like Crowley appears, and because Mark Sheppard is so short compared to everyone else in the room, they have to like tilt the camera so you can see everyone else in shot.
Because Garth hasn't gotten up yet. Right? No, he's still out on the floor.
Yeah. And I just love it. Go back and watch the shot. It's so good. And I clocked it immediately of why they did it, because they had to keep Mark Sheppard looking like imposing King of Hell while reframing it to fit everyone else's heads in.
Because he's like 6 inches shorter than everybody. Well, more than that, probably.
Just give the man a box. Just give him a box.
Just give him a box. You're right. How many shots are there boxes in? Probably a lot. And he's like,
Sam, Mazel Tov. Who's the lucky lady?
You're Crowley.
And you're, well, I'm sure you have a wonderful personality, dear.
So rude. So rude. She's not unattractive.
No.
She's actually just like a normal looking woman.
Just a girl. Just a girl standing in front of a virtual boy, asking him to love her. Oh, this episode.
Yeah, right. It's just silly. It's just silly all the way down. Dean threatens Crowley, says another step and I give him a Columbia necktie. Guy, and he's like, oh, please don't let him off that easy. And he's like, sir, I don't think you, and he says, I know exactly what you've been doing. A little birdie named Jackson, and like they look down and Jackson is
that intern,
that guy. Yeah. He sold you out, which is obviously, I mean, if that's the way that Guy has been treating him, like yelling at him,
yeah,
no wonder, right? And Crow's like, I assume this is the whistleblower. Shame he had a future. Unfortunately, you don't. And Crowley basically explains that the reason why they have rules is because they have integrity.
I love the line, this isn't Wall Street, this is hell. It's so good. The delivery. Oh, I just love Mark Sheppard.
I do too, yeah. This gets out, he'll deal with us. Nobody, then where are we?
Yep.
And he's like, I don't know. He's like, that's right, you don't, because you're stupid, short-sighted little prat. Lovely, love it. And he, talking to Dean, says, now hand the jackass over, I'll cancel every deal he made. He's going to make an example of Guy, and then they'll go their separate ways, no harm done. And Sam questions him, like, why are you doing this? He's like,
years of demons nipping at your heels. Haven't seen one for months. Wonder why?
Oh, we've been a little busy.
Hunting Leviathan. Yes, I know. That's why I told my lads to stay clear of you meatheads.
So what do you know about
Too much. You met that dick yet?
which I think is great that that's the way he phrased it.
Yeah, and it's the start of the dick jokes of this rest of the season. Yeah. There are many. Yeah.
Yep. And he's like, the smuggest tub of goo since Mussolini. I hate the bastards. Squish them all, please. I'll stay clear. And Dean says, rip up all the contracts first. So, I mean, it wouldn't have mattered either way if Becky had made the deal, because they all got... Actually, I don't know if they got reversed or if they get to keep their dreams.
I think everything gets just reversed because the contracts are gone. So...
Right.
Yeah.
And then then Crowley just says, pleasure, gentlemen, and disappears with Guy. Garth then gets up and says, what did I miss?
So much. I think this whole situation with Crowley is them like starting to work together again. I think they're kind of a bit less can't say that word. I know the word I mean. Can you say it, please?
Animosity,
thank you. Between them, it's not just about Leviathan, is it? Crowley's trying to get back into Dean's good graces. I will die on this hill.
I mean, you're not wrong, but yeah, and we talked about it before. It's the enemy of my enemy is my friend, course. Because he thought he was going to get in with the Leviathan, and they said no. A bit harsher than that, but so he's just like, fine, I'm going to go back to my old friends if you're not going to have you as my friend.
And like, historically, the Winchesters do get stuff done.
That's true.
So it's not, the thing is as well for Crowley, it's kind of on his, I think he was probably always planning to play both sides with this, like keep the Winchesters good, unless it was looking like Leviathan were really going to, be on his side. Ever the politician. Right. So, I love that he showed up in this episode. I missed him. I missed him. I never realised how much I miss Crowley until I see him, and I'm like, oh, I missed him. I don't know. Something about his character. I love it so much. So back at Becky's apartment, Sam is signing the annulment of their marriage. And she's like, it wasn't all bad, right? And he just like sort of shoves it over to her a bit more.
Yeah, right.
And Sam makes a concession here, and like, Again,
he doesn't
need to. This is Sam. This is just Sam all the way down, right? He doesn't like to leave something unresolved, I think. So he kind of has to like say his piece about it. And that's just who Sam Winchester is. He always does this, like even when he's in really bad situations. Because he's like,
Okay, you did save my life, and for that, thanks.
So, I'll see you again.
Yeah, probably not.
yeah, absolutely. And I don't think he does. It's just Dean, right, who sees Becky? Or do they both go? No, I think it's just Dean.
I actually don't know
either. Ooh, want to find out.
Yep.
So she signs the annulment. And then Sam's like, you're not a loser. You're a good person. You've got a lot of energy. He's like, so just do your thing, whatever that is, and the right guy will find you. And then like we see Garth looking at Becky like, hey. And you're like, no, Garth.
He like pats his hair down, like
my guy. I don't know. This does nothing for Garth's character, by the way, I feel.
Yeah.
And Dean just goes to him like, no.
You don't want to open that box.
So out in they go back to the Dodge in this alleyway, wherever this is. And Dean and Sam are like leaning on it, and Garth is kind of next to them. And Dean's like, well, I gotta say, you don't suck. And like he pats Garth on the arm, and Garth says, thank you. That's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me. He's like, wow. And he like gives him like this huge hug. And Dean just sort of does like the man pat, he's like, yep. Great.
Get him off of me.
So he waves goodbye, and Dean's like, take care. And then like turns to Sam and goes, wow. And this is the line where I'm like, this wasn't Sam, because he goes, oh, you made a friend. I was like, this is Jared Padalecki.
Yes. Yeah, it is. Yeah.
And Sam says, when I was dosed up, I said some crap. And Dean's like, oh, come on. Like, you mean she wasn't your soulmate? And he's like, no, I do need you watching my back, like, obviously. And Dean's still making a joke. He's like, yeah, with the crazy groupies attack. And he's like, no, you know what I mean. And Dean's like, for a whack job, you really pulled it together. I think he's like for everything, right? Like for all the stuff that was happening, actually, you've really done a good job of like pulling yourself up from that. And Sam says, that's the nicest thing anyone's ever said to me.
The funny thing is, it's like, that's kind of true.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, don't be too impressed, man. It's still a Denver scramble up here. I just know my way around the plate now.
I'm just saying, it's stupid to think that you need me around all the time. You're a grown-up.
This is such like a father-son conversation.
I also, you've been pointing out that this is like a lead up into Purgatory, and like this line is like so perfect for that. Like, you don't need me around all the time. Like, when I disappear at the end of the season, which is what he goes on to, like, dog wife, right?
Dog wife, yeah, it's dog wife. Plain spaghetti lady, that's how I see it.
I can't remember if it was season 8 or season 9.
No, it is, yeah, season 8.
This line he actually takes to heart.
We're saying this season, this is the pretty like suicidal Dean season. He's in a really bad place, and this is him saying, like, making peace with like, oh yeah, you'd be fine without me. Come on, Dean. He would not be fine.
Nope.
Like I said, he goes and marries doesn't marry her. He gets in a relationship with like dog lady. Yeah, so Sam's like, yeah, agrees with him that he's a grown up now, and Dean's like, you're a hike in the desert hippie douche grown up, because he just has to dig. And Sam's like, dude, I was camping. You camp. So yeah, they walk around, get in the car.
You know what, though? Seriously? Might be nice.
What?
I mean, you've basically been looking out for me your whole life. Now you finally get to take care of yourself. About time, huh?
And, like, Dean just sort of stands there for a second, and he's like, right. And then they drive away. It's such a moment. It's such a moment. Because you're like...
It is. It's...
What would Dean do?
He doesn't know how to take care of himself. Yeah, he doesn't know how to take care of himself.
He always just spirals. Like, without Sam, he just spirals. And yeah. No, it's like... Dean doesn't know, I think, how to be a grown-up like Sam does.
Dean doesn't know how to be alone.
Yeah, you're so right with that.
I think that's the biggest thing, because like even with Sam going to hell, he immediately went to Lisa.
Yep.
He knows that if he loses Sam now, he doesn't have Cass.
Yeah.
So he has no one. So like actually he doesn't want to look after himself because he doesn't want to be alone. And that was pointed out in defending your life.
Yeah.
That he feels guilt because he doesn't want to be alone, so he drags people into his life. Which is really funny that in this season you meet a whole bunch of people that are going to keep coming back, like Garth, like Charlie, like you're actually Dean is the one who makes all of these connections. Like I feel like obviously he has a connection with Garth because Garth doesn't even like hug Sam. He hasn't got that yet with Sam. And then with Charlie, he has a much better connection with Charlie than he's just planting the seeds so he makes sure that he's never alone.
And I think this is why Cass couldn't be in the beginning of this season, because if he had, who is the other person that Dean would have gone to when Sam was off the rails? Like, you know, or maybe now, you know, thinking that he can kind of, they're fine. So maybe they could, you know, go their own direction. Who else would Dean go to? And you can't do that because then they'd end up together. I don't know. But I can't wait till Cass comes back. It's not that much longer. It's still long.
We're getting through them. We're getting through them quite quickly.
Yeah. I actually think Dean's story arc in this is maybe more... It's so much more subtle than Sam's, I think.
Yeah.
I say that as they're kind of like throwing in our face constantly with these little conversations at the end of the episodes. But yeah, I just think it was interesting.
But they only stand out on a rewatch.
They do, because you know Purgatory's coming. Oh man, I love Purgatory. I cannot wait for season 8. I'm so excited. So season 8, my beloved.
You know, our episodes have been really long, right? Currently, well into like up to 2 hours, kind of thing. I'm scared for season 8.
Me too.
For how long?
I know. Oh, it's gonna be bad. It's gonna be bad. It'd be good.
It's gonna be great.
So good. Yeah,
it's gonna be so good.
Okay, what's our final takeaways from this episode? What are we thinking?
It was fun. It was just really fun. It was an easy watch. Would I watch it again? Maybe if I just wanted to like have a background episode of Supernatural.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's a nice filler episode. It's got a little bit of tie-in to what's going on. We don't see Becky again until season 15, so she is actually... There might be like flashbacks of her, but like her as a character doesn't come back until season 15. So you would hope that she would grow in 8 years.
Like, yeah. I mean, it makes sense that we don't see her again, I think, until then, because like they pretty much told her to do one.
Yeah,
you know,
pretty much. Yeah. I mean, you're not going to have any sort of respect or anything for what she's done, so that you would try to avoid all contact with her.
She gets her own kind of purgatory imposed on her for her actions. So yeah, I do think this one was a fun episode. I think it's because the characters are actually really fleshed out in this. Like I kind of understand like Guy the Demon's motivations. I kind of understand even like pretty much unnamed intern demon. Like I understand why he betrayed him. And then like Crowley's in it. It's great. Like Becky is a fully fledged character, although she is quite two-dimensional at the same time. I feel, like I said, the things I don't appreciate about it are like the whole sort of comment on, I guess, like fandom. But I think probably,
and specifically women in fandom.
Specifically women in fandom. I think they maybe take the edge off of that with the high school reunion spin on this. That it's actually not a fandom thing; it's a Becky thing. Right. So I feel like I'm a bit more forgiving of it on a rewatch, if that makes sense.
Yeah, I guess. So, So the reason why she says the reason why she chose Sam was because he's tall and because he's nice, and he wanted to show her off, and then as a secondary thing, like have his love. Yeah.
So it's all about her. Whatever, she's very self-involved.
Yeah. She is.
Yeah. So she's not. I kind of don't know now if I want, like, I kind of appreciate her redemption arc, I guess, but I appreciate it because of what it said about how they now view the fans, I think. But actually, I don't know if Becky deserved.
Yeah, but there was no one else.
You would hope that people would grow and change, right? So, like, fine, whatever.
Yeah.
And you can still grow and change and still be accountable for your old actions. So yeah.
Yeah. And like I said, it will be interesting. There won't be. I know there won't be, but it would be interesting if in Atomic Hearts she's like, oh, like I said, stabbing the demon made it real for me. Kind of thing.
I think that's all we're missing from her character arc. I think the proof, and I do think we get that in Atomic Hearts. The proof that she can now separate fiction from reality. She needed to gain that skill, and she didn't really gain it at the end of this episode. But maybe she needs to go back and think about what actually happened. And maybe that's why.
Yeah, right.
So yeah, that's mostly what I probably would watch it again. Like, it's not. Yeah. It ties into the story well, I think, with Crowley. But they've done well actually in this season, I think, of having the filler episodes actually tie in well. I mean, they do that generally, I think, in Supernatural. There's not much that is pure filler. There's always something.
I do feel like they've had a few where it has been like, what the what?
Yeah, you're right. You're definitely right. But like
that zombie episode from way back when.
No, you're so right.
Which is not to say that, like it happens in TV, and that's fine that it happens in TV. But they are doing a much better job in this season of actually like making some forward movement, even if it's like half a step.
Yeah, no, I agree.
I don't know if I have anything else.
What's the next episode?
The next episode is How to Win Friends and Influence Monsters. Maybe Becky should be in this episode because she needs to know how to get some friends.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, is this the Todakan episode? This is the Todakan episode, I feel. The goo.
I actually don't know.
We'll see.
I actually really don't know.
I don't remember. I'm really bad at episode names, so I don't remember. But I don't remember the ones we've watched. But I feel like that might be it. Okay. So at the end of the episode, we'd like to thank the Pixelgora for his wonderful art, which we use in our podcast. If you would like to buy that art, you can get it on Redbubble, on a t-shirt, or a baseball cap, or a little print, or something. I don't know. Whatever you like. And if you'd like to come and talk to us, you can find us on social media. We are on Tumblr, Facebook, Ko-fi, Bluesky, somewhere else, Instagram. We are Escaping Purgatory Podcast, but we are just Escaping Podcast on Bluesky because it was too long. So come say hi.
Yes. So this week we sat around a campfire, made a little potion. We used the potion when we shouldn't have. and we learned our lesson. And hopefully next week we can find our way out.
Yeah, bye.
Bye.